hello again. This is your show host, Maxine Phillips, the Levelist Woman. I am the owner and CEO and founder of Levelist Career Development and Consulting. I welcome you this evening. If you have someone that you'd like to have join us, please reach out and have them to chime in right now. Tell them to go to levelistco.com on Facebook, or they can go to my YouTube channel on the Levelist Co _ Maxine Phillips. Tonight, I am excited, but at the same token, the reason why I'm excited is because I'm able to share this information with you. And secondly, I want to share the information so that I can save lives, because I thank God that I'm able to be here and my life was spared. As the owner of this career coaching and consulting company, I find it to be an obligation, because that's what I do, is help individuals to move forward in their career, which then helps them to move forward in their life. I always use the quote, career is a lifetime, but life is a project. And in that project, you have a beginning date and an end date. And everything in between your birth date and your death date are sub projects. And my project right now is to share this information that nearly cost me my life in March of this year. Now, this just didn't start. A lot of this started back in 2009, but I won't go over all of that with you today, because that was talked about last week in the first episode. So I want you to be able to go back, listen to that episode so that you can stay caught up until I finish the series of this near-death experience. So welcome. As I said, this podcast is going to be about, this week is going to be about ingredients in our foods. And it's more than just in our foods. I want you to understand, it's non-food items as well, as deodorants, detergents, whether it's lotions, whether it's room deodorizers. There's a lot of things that's in there. But before we start doing that, I want to bring your attention to some of the chemicals and some of the preservatives that my body, it has an intolerance to. So I have a PowerPoint that I like to share with you as I walk you through this evening. So be sure to take notes, because these are platinum nuggets. It's something that you can use for yourself as well as you share with other people. So I'm going to have my producer to bring up the PowerPoint and we'll get started. I mentioned that I will be sharing 7 preservatives with you this evening. The main preservative that I'm going to talk about is the monosodium glutamate. Now, you see these other preservatives here on the screen, such as sodium nitrate, sodium sulfite, potassium sorbate. A lot of these show up in a lot of the different foods and non-food related items that we ingest daily. I'm not going to go over all of them, but the one that I'm going to concentrate on tonight is going to be the monosodium glutamate. As I move forward in that, let's talk about that for a minute. What is it? It's a preservative. As I mentioned last week, there are about 56 items that's related to the monosodium glutamate. Now, I've listed a few of them here. For the reason is because, again, my body cannot tolerate it. And whenever I ingest any of these items or any of these ingredients, my blood pressure goes sky high. I'm talking about 180 over 110. I'm almost in stroke zone. And prior to all of this, that I had this episode in March of this year, many times my blood pressure would even exceed 200 mark. So you know I'm in stroke zone at that point. But what I want to share with you is that when my blood pressure did go up that high, it automatically triggered my heart to go into an irregular heartbeat. Now, I've had these conversations with my doctor before, and they don't necessarily believe me. But remember, I always say, know your body better than your doctor. I'm not saying don't go to the doctor, and I do not profess to be a doctor. I'm not even the medical field. I'm a career coach. I love helping people excel in life, especially the professionals and our young professionals. But even though the medical professionals could not really determine what my illness was, I was able to do that by journaling my food intake. These are some of the items that definitely, when I ingest, my body totally rejects them and I go into that irregular heartbeat. I had this to happen to me March of this year, and it was so severe that I nearly died. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't walk. I was wheezing. I couldn't talk. I couldn't climb the stairs. I couldn't even walk 10 steps in front of, or even take 10 steps, shall I say. I'm saying all of this so that I can save other lives. You too could be going through some of this and don't even realize some of the symptoms. But remember I said last week I talked about a lot of those symptoms. But this week I want to hone in on the monosodium glutamate. Now, if you look here, I have the word listed here, but what I don't have listed here is that there are about 56 items that it has, I'm gonna call it MSG. It has MSG in it, but they don't have to list it, because if it's not pure, they can list it by another name. And what I want to share with you is here are some of the names that you're going to find in different foods. Take a good look at this list, because next I'm going to show you some labels. And it's important that you read the ingredients and the labels so that you can understand exactly what are you ingesting. Now, I said there are 56 items that's related to MSG, but they do not have to list them as MSG because it's not pure. Now, I didn't know this, and maybe many of you know it, and maybe many of you do not know it. But the most important thing is for you to become familiar with these ingredients. It would take natural flavorings, for instance. It sounds like it's all natural. Maybe we might think natural means from the earth, but that's not necessarily the case. It may have started out natural, but it did not end up natural because it was probably cooked, it was modified, other ingredients were added to it, but they can still call it natural flavorings. But within those natural flavorings, because they have not identified what those ingredients are, MSG is going to be a part of it. Then we have ultra pasteurized. Oh, we know, we always say ultra pasteurized. That's got to be the best. It's not the best. It's not even healthy for us. Now, I'm not saying you don't eat it, you don't drink it. What I'm doing is bringing an awareness. I know my body cannot handle it or tolerate it. So this is just an awareness for you that take heed and just read the labels and read the ingredients. Then we have low and no fat. Oh, how many of us want to have no fat items, to eat, thinking that that's going to be healthy for us? But not only is not healthy for us, but because it's low fat or no fat, we might have the tendency to overeat and eat more of it, thinking it's okay for us. Are we going to be reduce our size, or we can eat more than the necessary serving size and it's going to be okay? But let me tell you, it's not okay. If you look at the other ones, gelatin. I know many of the capsules that we take are coated in gelatin, and that's sitting in our stomach. So just be aware of that. Then we have high fructose corn syrup or rice syrup. All of that's MSG related because it's been modified, it's been cooked, and it carries those modifications to it. Then we have seasonings. If the seasonings, if they're listed on the label, then you would know what seasonings are being used. If it's not listed on the label, then you don't know what seasons are being used. So therefore, you do not know what chemicals, what salts, what sodiums, or even if like I said, MSG is more than likely in it because it's a hidden word. The other thing is spices. Oh, this is the one that has havoc on my body, and I totally have to stay away from it as well because, again, they don't list the type of spices or the name of the spices. And I'm going to show you some items, and that way I want you to pick out some of these words in the ingredients, in the labels, and let's see how well you're retaining some of this. Now, I know we talk about citric acid, and this citric acid can be okay if it's from the citric fruit, but it harms us when it's from a corn product. And then we want to look for ascorbic acid, which is the vitamin C. And now we have hydride, uh, plant or vegetable. It's not going to make a difference. It's still not as healthy for us. And then there are modified cornstarch that we see in a lot of the ingredients. But what about soy sauce? I love Chinese food, but I can no longer have Chinese food unless I ask for it with no soy sauce. And so I don't take a chance. I just do without. That's just a dish that I can no longer have. And that's some of the things that we have to decide on. Once you know that your body cannot tolerate something, then you have to make a conscious decision not to have it. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I know it's hard. I know it's hard because I'm the one who made the nachos. I knew what was going in it. I tasted it, but my body still couldn't tolerate it after 10 years. So don't even take a chance. And then we have enriched. Enrich is another one of those things is not as good for us. So what I want to do is pause right now. Type in the comments if there's any of these that you know your body is already rejecting. Let me just type in the comment box that you've had some. Okay, I see a few. All right. Yes, I see that. Okay, natural flavorings. Okay, and then seasonings. Yes, that's good. And so just keep these in mind as we start looking at the different foods as I go through this slide. All right. The first one I want to bring your attention to is this organic basil tomato sauce. I want you to look at the ingredients. Have you noticed any of the ingredients that I just mentioned to you that was related to the MSG? I'll take a moment. I don't see high fructose corn syrup in here anywhere. I don't see natural flavorings. The spices, look what they have listed as the spices. Organic basil, organic chopped onions, organic garlic powder. They're actually telling you which spices that's being used opposed to using the word spices. All right. Now I want you to take a look at the Miracle Whip. What ingredients are you noticing here of some of the MSG items that's related to MSG? Who can type in what you're noticing? Let me give you a minute, just a minute, to take a look at the ingredients for the Miracle Whip. And think about, though, that list of the MSG items that I talked about earlier. And tell me which ones that you are noticing. Okay, come on in. They're coming in. They're coming in. Okay, I see someone put in the high fructose corn syrup. That is correct. Anything else? Something that said modified cornstarch. No, I didn't even mention it, but yes, you're right. That is so true. That is one of the things that could very well be MSG related. Okay. All right. Well, let's take a look at one of the ones. Here we have the high fructose corn syrup. We have the modified cornstarch. It's showing natural flavor. Then it has potassium sorbate. And potassium sorbate is a preservative, and it is related to MSG. But notice they also use the word spice. I didn't highlight spice, but spice is listed. So we have to be careful because it does say dried garlic. So that could very well be one of the spices that they're using. How many of you guessed at all of these? It was like 4 or 5 of them. If you guessed at 4, put 4 in the comment box. If you got one of them right, put 1 in the comment box. Or if 2 or 3, just let me know how many. I just want to make sure that you're catching on and you're paying attention, because it is so important that you understand how to read the labels of the different chemicals or preservatives that used in the foods that we just take in every day. It's just a natural part of our everyday life and everyday eating. All right, I'm going to go through the other thing I want to bring your attention to while I'm on this screen here is the way the ingredients or the way the preservatives or the way the chemicals are listed. The first, it starts out with the first name. That means that has the majority of the that particular ingredient in the food. So here we have water, we have soybean oil, and the third one is high fructose corn syrup, and the fourth one is corn syrup, and then vinegar. So the first 5 items on any of the ingredients that's in the foods or any lotions or soaps, it does not matter, that carries the most weight in that particular product. So just know that. And sometime in some of the products, it'll say less than 2%, and then it'll list the items. So you already know that it's less than 2% and it's not carrying a heavy weight. So that's Miracle Whip. Great job, everybody. You're doing a lot. You're doing some great. Okay, you're paying attention. I like that. And look at this big smile that I have now. I couldn't smile 2 or 3 months ago. All right, so let's go to the next one. Now here we have almond butter and peanut butter. I know a lot of you like peanut butter. I used to like peanut butter. It doesn't work for my blood type, so I no longer eat peanut butter. But instead, I modified it, and now I have almond butter. But I want you to notice the ingredients. How many ingredients is actually in the almond butter? Who can tell me the ingredients is in the almond butter? Okay, I see it. I know you got it. It says what? Raw almonds. That's right. Raw almonds is in the almond butter. I'm just trying to make sure that everything is online and everything is working. Let me just double check. Let me just double check. Okay, we're good. We're on. Everybody's on. Okay. Now, make sure you reach out to someone that needs to hear this information. And if they're not able to listen in, be sure to share this information and have them to go back and watch this podcast. Because again, the whole objective of me doing this presentation and a part of the podcast is to save a life. It's so that no one would have to encounter this near-death experience that I encountered with my body rejecting the different preservatives and chemicals and nearly causing me to die. All right, now the next question is, what ingredients are actually in the natural peanut butter? Notice it's saying natural. It's saying natural. So tell me what ingredients are in the natural peanut butter. Okay, that's right. It's listed here. Fresh roasted peanuts and a dash of salt. The only thing they're not telling us here is what type of salt that they used. We're unsure. So that would be the only thing that's in question here when it says natural in this case, because it's telling us fresh roasted peanuts. It just did not tell us the type of salt that's being used. So you have to be cautious of that to make sure that your body is not going to reject the particular salt or the sodium in which they're putting in this particular brand of peanut butter. I'm not saying don't purchase any brands of any information that I'm using tonight. These are just for illustration and demonstrations only. So let's see. Okay, yeah, okay, I see. Yeah, I'm not trying to trick you, but yeah, you got it. You got it right. Okay, so what about the ketchup? Look at the ketchup. And I have 2 types of ketchup here. I have the Heinz regular, and then I have the Aldi's organic. Look at both of them and compare. Let's do a comparison right here. So as you can see with the Heinz, the regular, it has concentrated from red, ripe tomatoes, which is good. Then we have distilled vinegar, still good. But next, within the 5 ingredients that carries a heavy weight, the heaviest weight, we have high fructose corn syrup, and then we have corn syrup, we have salt, and we have a spice. And look at the end, it says what? Natural flavoring. Natural flavoring. All right. So I guess that is correct. Natural flavorings are one of those items that I just talked about that's in the MSG family that they did not have to tell us it was MSG because it was not pure. And then the high fructose corn syrup was another one. And then the spice is the same thing. But I want you to notice the difference when you look at the organic brand. The organic brand is telling you what? It's organic tomatoes, even though it's concentrated, but it's still organic tomatoes. Then they have water. They have organic tomato paste. They have organic sugar. They have organic distilled vinegar. If you notice, everything is saying organic, not only organic distilled vinegar, but I also talk about salt. There's that word, less than 2%. The less than 2%. Now they go on to tell you what's less than 2%. And they're also mentioning that is organic onion powder and organic spices. Now they use the word spices, but they're letting you know that it's organic spices and they're not just spices that may have been modified. Although we don't know all of the spices except for the few that they did list and under that up to 5 that we talked about that carries the most weight when you're looking at how the ingredients in a particular food. So these are just ketchups. But I want you to, if you can, grab something that's already in your kitchen, that's in your cabinet or in your cabinet, or that's right there on your countertop, and take a look at those ingredients. And perhaps you've looked at them for the first time. Because I know sometimes we have the different spices that's in our spice rack. But if we turn around the back of it and look at the ingredients, you might see that it might say thyme, but it could have a salt associated with it. It might say oregano, but it could have something else mixed in it. And we have never even looked at it. I know I didn't used to until my body came to the point that it became intolerant to a lot of the different ingredients. So I had and forced myself to start reading labels. Now, this is something that I must do every single day, every time I purchase something, every time I'm cooking, whenever I get ready to eat. I have to literally go through my checklist in my mind, what the ingredients are that I am about to ingest to see or to make sure that I do not have another one of those reactions, because my heart literally almost stopped. As simple as that, because it was just beating too fast and it couldn't keep up with the blood flow because my blood pressure was entirely too high. It's not worth the risk. And I know a lot of individuals say, oh, I only cooked a little bit of this, I'll put a little bit of that in it. But I cannot even take that chance. And many times I just carry my food with me. I'm talking about MSG. I'm talking about the 56, there's over 56 items that's related to MSG. There's no way that I can go over all 56 of them. But I do have a white paper that I've written. I'd be willing to share it. And so I think that if you just read the ingredients and read the labels each time, you will start becoming familiar with what your body can accept and what your body cannot accept. And the other thing about when you eat good, it makes you feel good. And so if you're working in a career, your life is good, you're enjoying your family, you're able to do things. But if you're not feeling well, and you don't even realize it's something that you've eaten, because you might not get a headache to 2 or 3 days later. You might not have a reaction to 72 hours later. I'm at the point that my body is zero tolerance, so I have a reaction within 15 minutes. And many times, as soon as I eat it, my body starts reacting. So I'll know that is something that my body is going to reject, and it's going to cause me a major medical problem. So for that reason, I have to steer away from it. And so I highlighted what those ingredients were when it came to the ketchup versus organic versus regular ketchup. And it's up to you what you decide that you want to purchase. There's nothing wrong with it. You know, I'm just bringing it as an awareness. And it's my obligation to do that, especially as a life and career coach. And I believe in helping individuals to move forward in life and do the great things that I know that they have been created to do. The next thing I want to talk about is here's a syrup. I want you to pick out the ingredients that I mentioned when it comes to MSG. Can you pick those out? Let's just take a moment. I'm going to pause and allow you time to pick them out, to write them down, and to type them into the comment box. So let me see. Ready, set, go. Let's see. Okay, I see them coming in. I see it coming in. Come on, I see them coming in. Okay, I see them coming in. Keep it up, keep it going, keep it going. Good job, good job. All right. So here are the actual items. How many of you got them? How many of them did you get out of the 6 or 7 that's listed here? Let's go over them. High fructose corn syrup and water and syrup. But notice those are the first 3 to 4 ingredients. So those are what weigh the most when it comes to what's in this particular syrup. Then it says, but less than 2% with the remaining items. Cellulose gum, and gum was one of the ones we looked at. That's a part of the MSG family. Natural and artificial flavors, another one within the MSG family. And then caramel color. We don't know exactly what that caramel color is made out of. So we don't know if I don't want to even speculate. I don't know what it's made out of. And then we have the sodium benzoate. Now, that was listed in the part of the other chemicals that's not necessarily MSG related, but it's definitely a preservative. And then we have the mono. So listen, some of these words, listen, I cannot even pronounce. So if you cannot pronounce it, I suggest you don't ingest it. That's the only thing that would be my advice that I could give to you, is don't even try to ingest it, because is it worth it? No, it's not. But what I do want to say is the fact that how is this? I think that's going to end. Yeah, that's going to end the slides for now. I want to make sure that I remove that from the stage. I want to go back to the very first slide where we talk about the ingredients for MSG. I want to bring to your attention this. We're back to school. Our young professionals are having breakfast. Parents, I encourage you to read the labels of the items in which they're eating for breakfast. Anytime we ingest some of these things that's MSG related, it does affect the brain. It does affect our memory. It does affect the way we interact. It affects our behaviors. So there's a lot of things that these chemicals and these preservatives will affect the body. I just ask that you read the labels, help the young professionals to make the best decision, because it will help them with their attention while they're in school. It'll help them with being calm and being able to sit and retain the information. And many times, depending on the type of sugars that they're getting, like the high fructose corn syrup or the corn syrup or extra sugar, then it causes what? It caused me to be hyper. So it could cause a child to be hyper. So these are just some of the things to keep in mind with our young professionals going back to school. And even if they were not going back to school, it's just still something to keep in mind. One of the things about what we intake will affect our mood. How are we going to respond to things? Are we going to be irritable or not? Are we going to be calm about it? And it's not just our young professionals, but it could be us as adults. And the way that we can help ourselves is to read the ingredients and the labels. I'm trying to see if there are any other comments that's coming in. Okay. As I indicated, a lot of individuals like Chinese food, but when I could eat Chinese food and I started feeling it, I would have a headache afterwards. When I did order it the next time around, I would ask for no soy sauce. So that's a possibility. And I do know the soy sauce comes in these little packets, and many times we'll put that over some of the food that we just have every day that we're cooking for ourselves. It's just something to become aware of, basically, is what I'm saying. Are there any questions? Anyone has gone through any of this? I'm just looking to see if I have any additional. Okay. All right. Cooking for ourselves. Excellent. I see some people are going to the cabinets and they're saying that they're reading the labels and they're taking a look at what they have and what they could be doing differently. So that's excellent. Excellent. Are there any other questions? Okay. Well, when it comes to the modified food starch, that can be put in a lot of different medicines. It can be put in sauces. It can be used for different things. What I will tell you is that when you start putting it into the different foods, you can find it in breads, you can find it in margarines, a lot of these gelatins and high fructose corn syrup. You're going to find it in cereals. Again, you can find it in breads. You can find it in candy. I'm not going to name the different type of candies that you can find it in, because if you look at the label, then the ingredients, you'll be able to read those. But I will let you know is that a lot of these ingredients, not only you have allergies to them, but it also can trigger off asthma. I know I have a young lady who's going to be coming on next week and is going to be talking about her asthma, and of course how peanuts and that allergy triggers her off, and some of the other ingredients that she eats triggers her allergies off. And how is she coping with it, and how is she modifying her diet in order for it to work for her. Now, there's also things called sulfates and sulfites that we can talk about later on. But I will tell you about the sulfites is that you can find those sometimes, believe it or not, and it's an unfortunate thing, is that even with fruit, they can shoot some of these ingredients or chemicals or preservatives, even in fruits, in order to make them prettier, look appetizing at the store that you want to buy them. You have the different waxes is on top of your different fruits and vegetables. And so you have to be cautious of that. I would say, again, I mentioned last week, always wash your fruit and vegetables, no matter where you got them from and who you purchased them from. There's a thing called nitrates and nitrites, which are found in meats. And you can purchase meats without it, because it'll say no nitrate, no nitrites. So it's something like that you want to be looking for. When you purchase organic foods, I want you to look to see what are the ingredients in that organic food. Is it saying organic natural flavorings, or is it just saying natural flavorings? If it's saying natural flavorings, that means it's going to be MSG related. If it's organic natural flavorings, that means that it has not been modified because we know organic mean that they had to go through a rigorous process in order for them to get the organic label on it. So these are just, again, some things that I have to bring to your attention. Now, I will tell you, I was never a wine connoisseur, but I did like a little wine every now and then. But whenever I drank the wine, I would get this real bad headache immediately, and I couldn't understand why. Well, after I started keeping my food diary, I found out that I'm allergic, no tolerance level for sulfites. And what do we find in wines? Sulfites. That's right. So it could be that when you feel like you're getting this headache from something you've ingested, take a look at the ingredients. Always look at the ingredients. Okay, Reverend Hollins, I see he said, thank you for sharing this information. I trust it has been beneficial. I trust that I've helped you to be able to turn that jar around, turn that package around, and see what the actual ingredients are that you're about to ingest. One of the things that I had to learn after I found out the intolerance that I have with these chemicals and with these preservatives, how do I shop in the stores? What's the best way when you go into a grocery store to shop? What I learned is on the what they call peripheral edge of that. That's where your healthier items are going to be. That's where your fruits and your vegetables, that's where your meats, your milks, your produce, your eggs, all of that is on the exterior. The interior is where you find your packaged products. Those packaged products is where you have to look, not every, but I would say, let me back up. The packaged products, you definitely want to make sure you look at the ingredients. The perimeter of the store, you still want to be very conscious of the ingredients because, like I said, the fruits and vegetables could very well have a wax coating on it that you need to get rid of. And then you have your regular vegetables and you have your organic vegetables. I'm going to choose the organic each time. And I know we talk about how expensive organic can be. But what I will tell you, until I had this episode, this near-death episode, for these last 10 years, after understanding that I had this intolerance to preservatives and I steered away from them, I barely met my copay for my insurance every year for the last 10 years. Now, I guarantee you I will be exceeding the copay this year because I've had to have so many tests. I've had to go to the doctor so many times. I've had to undergo have a lot of different procedures. I've had to have medication revamped. I'm taking more medication in order to get the body back in alignment. So preservatives have a havoc on our system, and it causes so many illnesses. MSG, I have an entire page of all the illnesses that MSG is related that causes. Diabetes is one of them. Lupus was one of them. It can even cause cancer. So there's so many different things that happens. I know last week someone asked me about what information would I say about cancer when it comes to preservatives. We already know that if a body is not alkaline, then cancer loves us. It loves to do well in a body that's not alkaline, but it's very difficult for cancer to survive in an alkaline body. So it's best for us to try to keep our body alkaline. I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you how to keep your body alkaline. I will tell you some of the things that I try to do to help me, but I would say ask your doctor, ask a nutritionist, and make sure that you're following protocol because many of us, we're on different medications, and we have to make sure that we can take some of the things. If I suggest to you, always check with your doctor first and let them know that you're getting ready to try something different and something new to make sure it's in agreement with your body and it's in agreement with your medication. Thoughts about alkaline water. I think alkaline water is good, but anything in excessive is not healthy for the body. So you have to do things in moderation because you must keep the body at a pH balance. And so if you drink alkaline water and you're not taking in any other things, that means that your body could be over alkaline and now it's out of whack. Your pH balance is off. So just read and just talk to your doctor, talk to your nutritionist about how much alkaline water should your body, because it tells us to drink at least half our body weight in water. And what does that look like for you? It's going to depend on how much you weigh. And then if you run that by your doctor and see, is this going to be okay? And maybe they can do a pH balance test on you to make sure that your body is within a balance, because it's important that you keep your body balanced when it comes to your nutrition, your health, your vitamins, your enzymes, all of that must be within a balance. And you must keep plenty of water in your body, because even if dehydrated, it can still affect your heart. It can affect every organ in your body. And you want to keep the blood, the blood is supposed to be thin. It's not supposed to be thick. So when you don't drink enough water, the blood becomes very thick. And when you start eating too many carbs and your blood sugars go up super high, the blood thickens. And the last thing you want to do is have the blood thick like syrup. You don't want that. That way we're gonna be in trouble. And anytime your blood glucose goes up to over 200, you definitely want to get that down. You definitely want to make sure you're talking to a doctor and see what needs to be done. I was on medication when I was diagnosed first as a type 2 diabetic, but I had to come off the medications because it was making me worse. And I told my doctor, work with me on this. Give me a chance to get my body adjusted. I would do it through my eating and through exercises first. If I cannot manage it that way, then I'll be willing to take your medication. It took me about 6 months, but I finally got my body where I was at a 11.0, I think, my A1C. I started coming down to a 9, to an 8, to a 7, and I ranged somewhere between a 6.4 and a 6.7 right now. I've never hit the 6.0 mark. I've never hit the 5.4 mark, but I'm under the 6.4, which is pre-diabetic. And so if it ranged between a 6.4 to a 6.8, and I've been maintaining that for the last 10 years, I think that's pretty good, don't you think? Would you say? Yeah, okay, I'm in agreement with you. Yes. Mark.
Maxine, just really quick, I have a quick question for you because, when you're ready to go to school, a lot of kids are getting ready to go to school and everything. So I know that one of my brother's girlfriend's daughter is diabetic. She's been on insulin for a lot of her life, and she is now a college graduate, actually teaching in the school system. But we know that a lot of times the schools don't always do a great job in terms of nutrition, and of course, it's hot in summer right now. We are going to get the holiday season, so I just wondered any advice that you had for folks that are wanting to make sure that their kids are eating healthy, because we want the adults to eat healthy, we want the kids to eat healthy as well. So I just wondered if you had any advice in terms of making sure that they are being safe and maybe not getting some of these bad foods in their diet as well.
Okay, I got some of that, but just ask a question directly because it was a lot of it I missed. So what
No, I was asking, do you have any suggestions you have for kids and the parents that are having their kids, the food is being provided by another institution, namely the cafeteria?
Right, the food is being provided by the schools itself, or they going for free breakfast, or they getting modified lunches and so forth. The only thing we can do is try to teach our children at home how to make what I want to say, the food choices. Although the schools are providing foods, and from what I can read, the schools are trying to modify even the offerings to the children so that the children can then select if they select pasta over an apple, or are they going to get chips over cookies, are they going to get milk over juice? So what we can do is help our children understand how they can modify and still eat well, but not necessarily. I can't say that those foods are not going to have preservatives in them. That's something that I cannot say because I'm not in the school system in order to look at the labels. But if we help our children at home to understand how to make those food choices when we're not with them, then it'll help them to make those food choices when they're in school.
That makes a lot of sense. I know a lot of people, both kids and adults, that love juice. I'm a big fan of iced tea and everything, but I know that sometimes those things that are advertised as being very good for you aren't always as great as we think they are because sometimes they have some bad ingredients as well. So I just wondering your thoughts about how we can make sure that we are having, say, the correct orange juice or the correct items, even the correct milk, because not every milk is actually good for you and everything, because some of them actually have the ingredients that you were talking about in your presentation. I just want to talk about how we can make sure that we are getting the correct kinds of juices if we're going to be having something we have to diet.
Okay, I think I heard a little bit of what you said, and in making those food choices, I think I heard you use the word orange juice. And orange juice, if you read the labels of orange juice, it has a lot of sugar in it. Fortified, ultra pasteurized, all of that means is MSG related. They had to cook it, they had to do something to modify it, which is not as healthy for us. So, if you have the choice between orange juice, if it's not freshly squeezed, and an orange, then choose an orange because that orange has orange juice in it, but you're getting it's more from the fruit and the sugar from the fruit than you are from it being modified or pasteurized or put in a jar in order for you to drink it or in a carton. But again, you have to help your children to understand the difference. If they have these choices, these are the choices they want to make. Now, when it comes to milk, milk has what vitamin D in it. Is sometimes it's pasteurized because they cook milk. One of the things that I would say is we have to be careful about low fat milk or something like that because if they came from the actual animal, that means it didn't come out with low fat, which means they had to modify it in order to extract the fat out of it. And so that low fat you have to be careful about, or skim you have to be careful about, because how did it become skim milk? That meaning they had to modify it. So that's just something to be aware of. Um, and a lot of times we're afraid to use whole milk because we say it has a lot of fat in it. But the body needs fat. It needs a good fat. It doesn't need the fat from bacon or something like that, but it could use the good fat from yogurt, from avocados, from salmon, from a fish, and even from some of the whole milk. If they don't put a lot of these other ingredients, like it's modified with vitamin D, vitamin this, vitamin that, or extra vitamin D, because milk has vitamin D automatically in it. So we just have to be aware of those things. Did that help?
That helps a lot because I know a lot of people are excited and are big fans of coconut milk. I know that I was never a big fan. I know some people love coconut milk and they say it's very healthy for you and all along those lines. So I don't know if you got any thoughts around coconut milk because I know there are even some cultures that are big on coconut milk and everything. So that's a milk that maybe people need to consider as well.
Yeah, I heard you say coconut milk. Now coconut milk, and they say coconut water, but it's the juice from the coconut. Put it like that. I know they call it almond milk. They have a lot of these different names that use the word milk. And at one time, the food and drug industry was about ready to ban some of that because it's not milk. Milk. It's not from the animal. It's not from the cow. It's not from the goat. And so, but a lot of times we use the word milk at the tail end of that, but it doesn't mean that it's actually a milk. We have oat milk, almond milk, you have all those different milks. But again, read the label, look at the ingredients to see what's in that particular item that you're about to use, because we use it for cereal, we use it for coffee, we use it for tea, sometimes we use it to cook with. So you have to just look at the ingredients. That's the only thing I can keep on encourage you is to look at the ingredients, read your labels, and know what you're about to ingest and know how much of it you're about to ingest. So one point in time, we'll talk about food servings and stuff like that. But right now, my focal point is on reading the ingredients, reading the labels, because if it had havoc on my body, caused me to almost die and lose my life, it very well could happen to someone else And we definitely, with our children, in the growth stage, we don't want to stunt their growth because some of these chemicals can stunt their growth. It can affect their hormones.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I know it can impact people's growth, and like I said, my uh, brother's girlfriend is that early onset of diabetes, so she lived with it almost all her life and all along her life. I think she had it when she was a young lady, and of course she's now a young adult in her 20s and everything. Along those lines, she really impacted and everything. But just really quickly before I do share with you your presentation, what are your thoughts around DoorDash applicants if they're going to eat out and so a lot of people are going to eat out, how they can make sure that they are eating out?
You're breaking up again. Okay. Um, he'll come back, but I couldn't remember. I couldn't hear what he was talking about. But what I will tell you is that when you read these labels and the ingredient list, don't let those ingredients fool you. It may sound like it's healthy and all of that, but look for the added sugars. Look for things like brown sugar, corn sweetener, corn syrup, dextrose, fructose, high fructose corn syrup. All of those are sugars that they perhaps added to the product that you are purchasing. What about saccharin and sorbates, potassium sorbate, all of that. And even in gum, in chewing gum, they have all the different ingredients. I had to even stop using chewing gum because I was getting a headache and I could not figure out why. You have to look at the throat lozenges. The wintertime is coming. The flu season is here. So you have to look at the cough syrups that you're about to take and the lozenges that you're about to start sucking on to help your throat soothe itself. So look at holistic maybe ways, honey and lemon and garlic. Those are things that can also help you, help the body get rid of the flu. Again, I'm not a doctor. I do not profess to be a doctor. These are some of the things I'm telling you that has helped me, and I'm just sharing them to make you aware and to try to just pass on the information. So now that you have it, I want you to pass it on to other people because we need to save as many lives as we possibly can.
That makes
Mark,
a lot of sense. One of the things I was saying earlier, and I hope you get it better this time, but I agree with what you were saying about the uh, like the lozenges and the. I know even when I've had colds, I've got Hallmark and some of the other things, not Hallmark, but Hall, and some of those have bad ingredients in them as well. Some of the cough drops and things like that. You got to check. So what I was asking is, what ways can people make sure that if they're going to eat out, that they are eating out healthy and everything? I know right now we've got a lot of people that got in the habit of going out and eating at DoorDash and eating places that they're not even getting the food being prepared and seeing necessarily the ingredients that they are ordering from ordering apps and everything. So what advice do you have for people that are eating out maybe too much and how they can make a healthy choice with their food, whether that's from a delivery or from a restaurant?
okay, if I heard you correctly, what would be my take on eating out and going
Right.
to restaurants and so forth? When I go to restaurants, ladies and gentlemen, I pretty much have to carry my own food. I am going with someone that's already purchasing a dinner or a lunch or a breakfast, but Maxine carries her own food because I can't take a chance. However, I have before I came so what I want to say zero tolerance. I could have a few items on the menu. So what I would suggest is a couple of things. First of all, find a restaurant that you know that is conducive to what your body can have, and work with that what we call it the chef. Because sometimes when I enter a restaurant, I might look at the menu and I'll see something that I like, and I'll ask the waitress, I'll tell her my situation, and she'll go back and ask the chef, and they'll see what they can do to accommodate me. And that has worked. The other thing you can do is look on the website, look at the menu, call ahead to let them know who you are, what it is that you want, when you're going to arrive, and so forth and so on, so that they can work with you that way as well. Now, when I'm going to a large function that I know that they're having um, 25 to 30, over 30 people that they're preparing a meal for, many times it's very difficult for them to prepare an individual meal unless I've notified them at least 3 to 4 weeks in advance. And in that case, they can usually modify and bring me something in which I can have. But in the event that I do go to an event that I have not worked with the catering staff ahead of time, then I carry my own food. There's nothing wrong with having your own food with you. And at restaurants, I pretty much have asked from time to time, I'll take a plate and an empty glass, because the person that's with me, like I said, they're purchasing a meal. And when I explain to the waiter or waitress, they understand. And so therefore, I don't have any problems. Listen, they will work with you if you just let them know what you're up against.
Just really quickly, I was scrolling across the bottom because I know you have this very big event that is going to be coming on. So I didn't know if you wanted to mention that. You have that scrolling across the bottom
Yes.
of the boot camp. So I thought you were winding down. So I just wanted to know about the boot camp because you have that. You mention that as well.
Yes, yeah, I do. I was trying to figure out, Mark, how to remove the PowerPoint so I wouldn't be looking at that. There we go. Thank you. So yes, what I like to do is that there are times that, I say career is a lifetime, but life is a project. And there are times when you're trying to figure out, what do I need to be doing with my career? How do I need to be moving forward in my career? Because like I said, we help professionals transition to new careers, and they could be young professionals as well. And in order to transfer into these new careers, that means you need a resume. There have been a lot of job layoffs. There are a lot of companies coming to the area that need to hire you. But so go on and get your resume together and have it ready. So for that reason, I have put together a resume workshop that's going to be on August the 29th. It's running across the banner now. Take a picture of it, and I also will post it again afterwards so that you can register for it. It is a 4-week boot camp, but you only have 2 hours a week with me. And the other times you're working offline, doing the homework, and you're ready to come back to class with the homework prepared. By the end of those 4 weeks, you walk away with a resume that you can submit to a job opening. That's the objective. So come prepared, come ready to do the work, because Maxine is ready to help you land that job or land that assignment or land that career aspiration that you want, or move forward in your career and advance or be promoted. However you want to do it, let's make sure it happens and we can do it together. So be sure to take that Levelers code /resume boot camp. And you can also find it on my website at www.levelersco.com. That's www.levelersco.com. I am looking forward to seeing you all soon. I trust that you have enjoyed the information that I've shared with you this evening. I trust if you've written a lot of this information down, and if not, you can always come back and take a look at the video. But please, don't keep the information to yourself. Share it with others. I have a quote that says, "We are a masterpiece, uniquely created for a purpose and giving natural abilities to reach our destiny." I want individuals to reach that destiny, and you can help me. So as I close this evening, I thank you for your time and your attention, and reach out to me and let me know how this has helped. And be showing, thank you, Pastor Hollins. It's a blessing to be here. It is a blessing to be able to share this information with you. I always leave with this: I believe in you, and I trust you believe in yourself. Have a great evening. Taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.